tell us a little bit about your problem and why you chose physiotherapy.
So I've always felt as though, I just basically felt like everything was kind of like out of alignment and it just sort of things like that. And I kept seeing like a stall in the high street on Saturdays, and I just thought, yeah, why not? Let's give it a go. If there is a problem, it's kind of best to catch it. And yeah, so that's why I ended up coming here. But I used to get like pain in my shoulders and my hips quite a lot. Found out that was to do with my posture and everything, which was fun.
You felt like you learned something from
Yes, yeah, massively felt like I learned a lot, even before sort of any of the treatment or anything started. You had like that, was it the posture scan thing where, you know, you take pictures, kind of like going 360, and they were like, well, you're really out of alignment on one side, and even little things that you don't necessarily think of, like before I was carrying my head too far forward, so that was throwing everything off, and you know, just things like that you don't necessarily think of. And it's not until someone says it to you, you're like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense.
What was physiotherapy like, your perspective of it?
I'd always thought that physiotherapy was something that you did kind of like after like an accident, or if you were a professional sportsman or something like that. I'd never thought that it was something that you could do in kind of like your day-to-day life. I always thought, because I'd always heard of like, I suppose I always thought of physiotherapy in the same way that I thought of like rehab, when you see like people who were in hospital who have had like serious injury and they have to do things like that. So that's what my perception of physio was beforehand, like something obviously a lot more sort of serious. I didn't think that it was necessarily little sort of minor changes and kind of tiny little exercises to help with your day-to-day life.
So you'd say it benefits everybody?
Yeah, massively. I mean, you know, on a personal level, it's massively benefited. I no longer get sort of pain in my shoulders, my hips. There's a few other things that have come up, but that's because, you know, you're working through everything and you discover things as you go along. But yeah, it's been massively beneficial, and I would say to people, like, if you have any aches and pains or anything, then get it checked out before it becomes much more serious and you need kind of serious medical intervention. This can kind of be the step that stops it going that far.
A preemptive approach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good. What was it like when you were actually in the treatment room?
So yeah, in the treatment room, everybody, I think I've seen like everyone, like all of the therapists here, they've all been so, you know, like really understanding, really kind, really funny, but also kind of strict when they need to be. So they're like, okay, well, you know, you're doing this, you need to start doing this, but it's not a case of them just, you know, anyone just saying, oh, this is how you do it. They're going to show you, they're going to make sure that you can do it. They give you, you know, you've given me exercises, like plans that I can follow, things like that. So it's just been fantastic, kind of like a complete 360 service, which is really good.
Were the exercises for you, or were they out of reach?
No, they were, for me, they were totally within reach, and I feel like that's down to the team. I felt like they were listening to what I was saying. So if I was like, I can't do this because of that, they were like, okay, well, you can't do this because of that, so how about we approach it from a different angle? So it was very much kind of not a one size fits all approach. It's much more personalized, doing that. And every time you come for a session, it's always, you always start off with, okay, well, last week we worked on this. Let's look at how that's progressed. Let's look at what they're doing. and have you had any other issues, things like that we need to maybe have a look at.
Again, that preemptive approach.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. No, that's nice. What about the team on reception and front desk? How did they make you feel?
They're so friendly. That's, the best way I could describe them. They're super friendly. They make you feel at ease. I think it's important, particularly at the beginning, because obviously you're quite nervous if you don't really know what it is. But they're they're super friendly. They answer any questions that you have, and they just make you feel really at home, which makes you more relaxed, which has a knock-on, like an added benefit, is that when you actually start your appointment, you are in that relaxed state, so it's a lot easier for you. So they're just great.
Feel like you were listened to.
Yeah, exactly. You've always listened to. They always ask, if you tell them one thing, you just mention something to them, the next time you come in, they ask about it. So it's just kind of, it's almost like you're talking to friends with them. They kind of build that rapport and that relationship with you.
That's really sweet to hear. That's lovely, that is. Did you find that in terms of the approach with physiotherapy and also reception, did you find that your problem was fixed straight away, or did this take time?
It takes time. It's not a quick fix, because oftentimes when you're coming to it, when you've got those aches and pains, it's one of those things where it kind of comes up and then you just ignore it because you think, it's not that serious, it'll go away, and it doesn't, and it gradually creeps up. And obviously as you get older, you're doing things and you're putting more stresses on your joints, and you maybe have like a more active lifestyle, or anything like that, and it's more of a the exercises helped, they make a difference straight away, but it's consistency. It's all about consistency. So it doesn't necessarily you just have one appointment and then that's it, thank you very much, you're out. It's more of this is something that you need to keep working on, and so yeah.
And in terms of your personal progression, what are you, on the back of that, what are you doing now that you weren't able to do when you first started with us?
So before it was so bad that I couldn't lift my arms above my head. So I would get to about here, and then everything would kind of freeze up, and everything just felt so tight. So I can now lift my arms above my head. I no longer have pain in my hips, no longer have pain in my back. So it's alleviated all of those things. But again, I'm aware that it's an ongoing thing. It's something that you have to keep working at. So it's not like, once you're pain free, you can just leave it. It's no, you need to keep on with the exercises and with the approach that you've been given, because that's what led to this, you being currently pain free. So you need to keep on going with it.
This is interesting. What's the best thing that you found coming to us? The one thing that you took away?
I suppose the best thing, if I was to say one thing that I would take away, is just how friendly everyone is. It's it's kind of a really relaxed approach. Like I said, you come in straight away, everyone is laughing and joking, puts you at ease. You're in a much more relaxed state, much more relaxed frame of mind during the appointment. Sometimes it's you have exercises or things that are difficult to do, or where you're like, I don't think I can do that. But it's just, all of the therapists are just so relaxed about it, but they'll just be like, okay, well, we can keep going. And so it's just how friendly and relaxed everything is. It just makes it quite pleasurable to come.
With that in mind, if you were then going to recommend us to someone who maybe was a little skeptical, is physiotherapy right for me? what would you say for them?
I would say that, yeah, definitely physiotherapy is right for you. It's something that it's something that people don't necessarily consider. Like I said, I feel like maybe I had that perception that a lot of people have, that physiotherapy is only if you have like a serious injury, or you know, like something really bad has happened. But it's not. It's just about making sure that your body is working at the optimum level for your day-to-day life. If you have any aches, pains, niggles, things like that, it's best to get them seen to by a professional before it becomes too serious and you then have to go down that whole, you know, potentially having surgery or anything. I personally, for me, I feel like this is the step where it can be like, okay, well, we can head off a lot of problems and leave you in good stead for the rest of your life.
It's really interesting to hear that, Rob. Bless you. Thank you very much.
No worries.